Hello, everybody. It's Monday night.
Yep.
And it's movie time once again.
And we are drinking root beer and fucking rum. It's a good combination. It doesn't sound good, but it is. Real good.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was good, but yeah, it's pretty damn good.
You know, vodka will go with anything, but rum
won't go with anything, but it does go with root beer. I
didn't think it would go with it, but it does.
That's all we had was root beer, so
so
we just put it in there with it. So we were gonna drink it regardless.
Rum goes with Dr. Pepper too. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe rum goes with pretty much anything too.
As long as it's unspiced rum, just white rum.
Yeah. We just get the regular.
Spiced rum doesn't really go with anything. You gotta drink
regular shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of the ones that we were talking about. I think back when we did Single White Female, and we were kind of talking about all these like kind of '90s thrillers, because there was a fuck ton of them that came out around this era. Like particularly in the wake of Fatal Attraction, which that came out in '87, and then there was just like a whole, there was a whole run of them like all through the early '90s. Yeah. And I remember seeing this one. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I very well might have though. Because I saw a lot of movies back then, like at the Dollar Theater.
I saw it in the theater. Yeah, Dollar Theater.
Yeah, I might have seen this in the theater, but I don't really remember. And I remembered liking it, although when I thought back about it, I was like, the only thing I remember about it, of course, was the cockroaches, because I hate cockroaches.
Yeah.
I don't mind any other kind of bugs really, but cockroaches, because I'm from Florida, and so they gross me out, and I see them all the time.
I remembered at the time liking it. And that it felt very fucking contemporary and almost kind of futuristic when I saw it when it came out. And I remember the acting being really good. That the whole thing was like a real slick production. I remembered liking it. Watching it again is it kind of holds up.
It's slightly dated, I will say. Like especially the hairstyles.
Yeah, it doesn't quite pull you in as much as it did when it was new. A lot of the little tricks that it does are kind of tired.
Yeah, because it's been a lot of times.
But you know, it's shot beautifully. It's got a really good color palette. Just the shot compositions, the angles are really good. The score was pretty good.
Hans Zimmer did the score.
Yeah, score's pretty good, and excellent acting. Excellent acting.
Michael Keaton is fantastic in this. He doesn't play villains a lot, and I don't know why he doesn't, because he's really, really good at it.
Yeah. On the back of these, fucking Time Life made a bunch of fucking made-for-TV movies on the back of these kind of movies.
Yeah, well, this is like the whole Lifetime network, like in a nutshell. Other than like the sappy like Christmas love story movies, like all the other ones are like these.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah. It's this kind of shit.
So because it has a lot of tropes in it and it's a style that's kind of old for us, I had a hard time getting into it. I was getting distracted a lot.
I will say that other than Michael Keaton, who, like I said, Michael Keaton is a national fucking treasure, and I'll watch him in anything. Other than him being in it, I liked this movie the second watch, because I think this is only the second time I've seen it. Maybe the third time. But I didn't like it as much as when I saw it the first time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and I'll get into some reasons about maybe why that is, but like it's still a good movie though, like if you like 90s thrillers. And like you said, this was actually directed by John Schlesinger, and if you know that name, it's because he won an Oscar for Midnight Cowboy.
Okay, yeah.
He directed Midnight Cowboy.
Great movie.
He also did Marathon Man.
Yeah, one of the best straight gay movies of all time.
Yeah, he also did Marathon Man. He did Day of the Locust. Like he did, I think he also did Madame Suzatka, if I'm thinking about it, which I kind of liked actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really like. I think two things that save this movie from just being kind of a run-of-the-mill thriller is one, Michael Keaton, and two, the way the camera moves. Like, I kind of feel like in a lot of movies, you know, the camera's kind of static or stationary. In this one, like, even when two people are just having a discussion, I notice, like, the camera, like, moves, like, around them. It's kind of like this action kind of thing, and I kind of dug that. And so I kind of feel like it made it seem like a lot more exciting. You know what I mean? Like, just when two people were having conversations. Because, in essence, this is... I saw a movie reviewer from Contemporary from 1990 when this came out that called it the world's first eviction thriller. Like, this whole thing is basically about real estate and, like, a squatter. It's kind of like you know that show they have on Netflix, like Roommate from Hell or whatever? That's like the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just about how a pro, if he wanted to, could really, using the law, could get into your house and really fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Especially if he was kind of a good con man.
Yeah.
So it kind of was, the idea was to put fear into you about what an evil person really could do to you without killing you.
Yeah, I mean, they could
I don't think he may die in this. He died.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anybody, though.
Yeah. I don't think he killed anybody. I don't even think they implied that he killed anybody.
Yeah.
Although I think at the end he probably would have killed Patty, Melanie Griffith's character. He seemed like he wanted to kill her because she had fucked up his con.
Yeah, I thought that was part of his con. I thought it was part of his con to intimidate people and scare the shit out of them, though, too.
It might have been.
I don't think he was going to kill her. I think he wanted her to think that.
Yeah, because it seemed like everything that he did in this movie was calculated for like a specific effect. Like they implied that he'd been doing it for a long time, and so he was very, very well versed in the law. He knew what he could get away with.
Yeah,
and he really knew how to manipulate people. And I think that's one thing, because I watched some other people's reviews of it. And a lot of people do have like a lot of affection for this, especially people that are really into 90s thrillers and stuff.
It's a good movie.
It is, yeah.
It's a good movie.
It is. Yeah. The one complaint that I would have, and a lot of people had this complaint, is that Matthew Modine's character, Drake, I didn't love him in it. I don't think he's super likable. And a lot of the shit that happened could have been prevented had he not done dumb shit. I'm just going to say that right out the gate.
Well,
I'm not victim blaming.
But there has to be a movie, too.
Oh, I know that. I know that. I'm just saying that they could have made it so that it would have been a lot scarier if, like, he did everything correctly and then he still got fucked. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that Michael Keaton was just, like, so good at manipulating him that he just fell into every single trap, even when it's very obvious that it was a trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's one part, like, about halfway through the movie. And because of all the stress and everything like that, like Melanie Griffith's character, his name is Patty, she has a miscarriage, and you know it's this big thing, this big sad event, obviously. And Michael Keaton, he goes up to their apartment, and there's been a lot of rancor and contention between them up to this point, right? So Michael Keaton, knowing this, goes up to their apartment, like, with flowers, and I think it's even lilies, which is kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Because that's, like, a funeral type of flower. And so he goes up there with it, and he's just up there going, oh, I saw the ambulance outside, and I heard about what happened. It's like, nature can be so cruel. He went up there on purpose because he knew that would piss off Drake, and that Drake would punch his fucking lights out. Yeah. And that's exactly what Drake did. Right. Because Drake could not control his emotions, and so he just kept falling into every trap. So he starts beating the crap out of Michael Keaton's character, and Michael Keaton had already called the cops, knowing that was going to happen. So then when the cops got there, all they saw was Matthew Modine beating the crap out of Michael Keaton, and of course Drake gets arrested. So I was just kind of like, how about you just chill out and not let him push your buttons like that? Because that's very obvious that that's what he's trying to do. But like you said, that was his plan the whole time. And that's what Phantom was saying earlier, that, like, he must get used to, like, getting his ass kicked. Michael Keaton get his ass kicked is part of his plan because he can make the other person look like the villain.
Yeah, he's making a shit ton of money on it. I mean, he was trying to really live the high life. He and his girlfriend fucking wanted yachts and to live in fucking, the high life. They didn't have any jobs. It was purely stealing, basically. Yeah. Lawsuits and grifting money out of people. He was a high effort parasite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is exactly what he was.
Yeah, he was a parasite that had it down to a fucking science, and he wasn't taking the easy road. That was his fucking thing. You know what I mean? He was putting effort into being a parasite.
A lot of effort.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I was kind of like, he's obviously a villain and a terrible person, but, like, he put so much work into him. I was kind of like, good for you.
He's like a master criminal.
Yeah. I was kind of had to admire him a little bit. I was like, holy crap, that must have taken forever. Like, he had put, like, piles of files on everybody and all these fake IDs and passports and shit.
Because I had seen it before and knew what to expect and was remembering it as I was watching it, the movie was stealing its own thunder for me because I had seen it before.
Right.
And also knowing this type of movie, it didn't really surprise me because me and Jen grew up with this kind of movie. But if I was a younger person, maybe Gen Z, or like I said, maybe Gen X who's never seen it, watch it. It's good. It's a good watch. I would probably give it to Single White Female. I think that's a better movie, even though that's a more simple movie. But there's something about Single White Female kind of drew me into it a little bit more. I think maybe it's because it had
because the nudity.
It had cute girls that were nude.
I mean, let's be honest.
Bridget Fonda and that other chick. And it had a lesbian psycho content to it, and it was a cool flick. It was easy to follow too. This one was abrasive. It's a very kind of I would call it a lot more of abrasive kind of movie.
Yeah,
fucking Michael Keaton's fucking obnoxious in it. He frustrates the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
and you're like, if you pay too much attention to it, you empathize with the main characters in it. You're like, yeah, this dude would fucking drive you fucking nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say, like, I think I don't know, but I think the laws that they're talking about, they are kind of like that, but I think they're exaggerated a little bit for the movie. The thing about it is that
it was California, though.
Yeah, but Michael Keaton's character, it's implied, yes, that he came from a very, very wealthy family because they said he was living on a trust fund, right?
Yeah, he didn't really need money.
They didn't say how much money he got or anything like that. Although they did say that his family paid him to stay away because he was horrible.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they didn't say how much. Like, he had a Porsche, he had, like, all this other stuff. So I don't really know. But the thing about it was that he had been, like, stealing other people's identities. Because what he would do was he would do this thing where he basically would go, he's using, like, tenants' rights laws, like, against people.
Yeah.
Like, basically, he's like, well, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to rent this place, and this is what he does to the couple.
Once he signs the lease, he's got him.
Yeah, and he doesn't pay. And, like, so he gets in the apartment, well, they didn't even let him in. Like, he did sign a lease, but he came there before he was supposed to come there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they didn't quite choose him to do the lease, too. There was a bunch of surreptitious shit that he did, remember?
Yeah.
He kind of chose them.
Yeah,
blue.
Yeah, well, he didn't choose him out of the blue.
Well, he saw that house.
Because they found out later... Yeah. When Melanie Griffith was up in his, like, snuck into his hotel room and found, like, his briefcase with all his files in it, that he had actually been targeting them because he knew that they were overextended on the loan and that they had never purchased any property before and that they were first-time landlords, and so they probably didn't know all the ins and outs like he did. So he was targeting people like that.
Yeah, he was trying to steal the house, basically, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that was kind of his end game. Like I said, I'm not sure how that would work legally, but it's like, so he comes in and he basically says, they had other people that wanted, but he didn't want a credit check, obviously, because he's under a false identity. He's under the identity of the dude whose condo he stole in the previous grift.
Yeah.
So, when he was with Beverly D'Angelo, and she's still living in it. So he comes here and he basically says, well, I have all this money from a trust fund and it's kind of awkward and I don't have a regular job and blah, blah, blah. So I don't really want you to do a credit check, but I tell you what, I'll give you the first 6 months rent up front. Yeah. So obviously, so Matthew Modine at first is kind of like, no, I still need you to fill out the credit check thing and stuff. He's like, no. He's like, I got all the money. He's like, I have $2,900 in cash right now. Although noticeably, he doesn't give him that.
Yeah.
Because at first I think he's going to, but then he's like, I tell you what, I'll wire it to you.
Yeah, and it never gets there.
And then it never gets there, obviously, because he never sent it.
Right.
So it's like, what he does is then he kind of signs the lease, but then, like, he shows up before he's supposed to. He's like, oh, well, your husband said I could come in here and wait for the phone guy.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, what? Okay. And so, like, he gets in there, and then as soon as he gets in there, he shuts it all up and changes the locks so they can't get in. Yeah. And then he won't let them in.
Yeah, and they can't really evict him because he's on the lease.
Right.
There's laws. And they said, well, yeah, but he goes, he hasn't paid us, though. And he goes, no, I paid you. It's just that they're having bank problems. It's going to take a while.
Yeah,
for the fucking wire
so
transfer.
he's making it say, it's like, oh, it was just a bank problem. Like I'm so sorry, blah, blah. And it was like that. And then, like, they're trying to get him out of there because he's making all this noise.
Yeah.
Like banging and shit, and you don't know.
He's letting cockroaches go.
You don't know what it is in there until later.
He's doing everything.
But yeah, so it's like he's doing all this stuff, and it's like, so to try to get him out again, Matthew Modine does a dumb thing because he doesn't know that you can't do this legally. He turns off the electricity and the heat to that apartment, and you're not allowed to do that. And I guess like he didn't know that you weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, and of course, he lawyers up and shit.
Yeah, because like I said, he really, I mean, Michael Keaton's character obviously has the advantage because he knows all
everything.
the laws and he knows he has all the lawyers and he has money and shit like that.
And this is just a game for him. And he's going to try to steal this house without even paying a fucking dime. And he's trying to drive them out. And he's also trying to make the fucking value of the property depreciate too. It's all kinds of shit he's trying to do.
Yeah, and like you said,
all that shit about letting the roaches out would also depreciate the property, and then he could say they were bad landlords and the place was fucked up.
Well, he put all the roaches in the other because they rented out the other apartment on the bottom floor to a Japanese couple.
Yeah, so he was trying to starve them out of fucking income.
Yeah, so that's what he was trying to do because there was like a big thing that the couple, they needed these two tenants to pay to cover the mortgage, and so like obviously they got them both in there and they were super happy, but then like the Japanese couple were like, look, we can't live in here like this.
He was trying to get them to default on their mortgage and fucking and run from the home, and then he would buy it.
Yeah,
whether or not he would pay for it, I don't know.
That's kind of what I thought his endgame was because he really did seem to be.
I think he was going to buy it for fucking way under market value.
Right. Like not only trying to get the bank to foreclose on them because they couldn't afford it, but also to get them, like to legally get them, because at one point, like I said, Drake gets arrested for assault for beating the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And then there's a point too where, after that happens, he gets a restraining order, so Drake can't even come in his own house.
Yeah.
Because he gets a restraining order against him. And then when Drake sneaks back there, because Michael Keaton makes it so it's like, oh, now your wife's here alone and I'm going to terrorize her. So obviously, he's like, okay, well, I have to sneak back there even though I have a restraining order. And Michael Keaton knows he's going to do that. So he comes in the house and Michael Keaton shoots him. Like, he doesn't die. But he just, like, shoots him in the arm. And he has every right to do that because it's self-defense. And then he plants like a crowbar, like in the dude's hand or whatever. And so like I said, that's what's kind of so frustrating about it is that not only that, because, see, here's the thing. I kind of feel like the whole movie could have been alleviated if Patty and Drake, the couple, had done their due diligence and done some research before. Because here's the thing. They paid $750,000 for a Victorian, supposedly in Pacific Heights. That where they shot it, that house is not in Pacific Heights and it's in a different neighborhood. But Pacific Heights was known as kind of like a higher end, neighborhood. So it had that connotation. So they wanted to use that, phrase. But the house that they shot it in was not there. But so it was kind of a fixer upper. But so obviously, I don't know how much the fucking loan was that they took out, man. Because if the house was $750,000 and it needed a lot of renovations, and so I don't know, so they did all these renovations. It was a nice kind of
Victorian house, though.
Yeah.
The location, that was very good. So that, you'd fix that thing up. Nowadays, that'd be a fucking $3 million house.
Oh, easily. Well, probably more than that, I would imagine. And so they were gonna live upstairs, and then like they said, oh well, we have to rent out the bottom two apartments, one for $1,000 and one for $1,300. Like, and then because he had a job, like Matthew Modine's character Drake, he had a job, right? Because they showed him like he was a manager of some kind of clothing or textile company or something like that. She didn't have a job, but she kind of worked on the side as like teaching kids how to ride horses or something.
Somebody mentioned that the Japanese guy, the male from the couple, was a Mako.
Mako, yeah.
Yeah, Mako played. For me, he'll always be the wizard from Conan.
That dude was in so many movies.
Yeah,
holy crap. But yeah, it was like that's where I recognize him from too. He was in.
Kevin asked, "Wasn't this a ripoff? Wasn't this kind of a cheap knockoff of some other movies that were like this?" No, we addressed that earlier. There was a bunch of movies like this that came out, but this wasn't a cheap movie. It was. This was. Not, I think they weren't quite A-list, but they were kind of like B-list. Maybe some of them were A-list at the time.
The budget of this was $18 million.
In those days, that was pretty good.
And it made $55 million.
Yeah.
So it was like a modest hit. You know what I mean? So much so that they're actually, a couple years ago, they started talking about doing like a TV series.
Yeah, and it's really well shot. It's got a good...
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's got a really good score to it, and it's shot composition, color palette looks good. It's very much a movie of its time, but it kind of holds together. It's a good-looking movie. It's weird to see all those late 80s... They were late 80s, wasn't it?
I mean, 1990, yeah.
1990, okay. A bunch of late 80s cars in it. late 80s Lincoln Town cars and fucking BMWs. You look at them and they look brand new. You're like, damn, I remember when those cars looked brand new. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben said the lawyer explained it to them. He's going to sue them for assaulting him and breaching his tenant rights. They'll have to give him the property in settlement. So I guess that's kind of what he was... Okay, yeah, that's right. Because, Laurie Metcalf, who, somebody mentioned she was on Roseanne, probably most famous role. But, yeah, she's in this, too, like, as the lawyer. And she said that, too, that he'll... Because, she even mentioned it's like, oh, he'll get the house. Yeah. Like, if you... Right. Go along this route or whatever. But like I said, it does seem like Drake was doing dumb shit. That was kind of another thing too. I like Matthew Modine. He's great, and actually if you haven't seen the Stranger Things, he has a large role in that too, and he's great in that.
Yeah, it's funny to see all these people young.
Yeah, like he was real young in this still. Yeah.
When this came out, I figured to me these are old people. I look at them now; they're like kids.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's looking funny.
But yeah, so. Well, I don't remember where I was going with that, but let's see. Yeah, Phantom said, didn't he give Drake the money out of his pocket at first, promising him the rest? See, I can't remember, because I remember that he took it was like $2,900, I think, like out of his wallet, because he's like, oh, I've only got $2,900 in cash on me now, because he said, oh, I can give you 6 months in cash right now, I'll see how much I have on me. And then he said, oh, I only have $2,900, but he's like, I'll tell you what, why don't I just wire you the whole, I think it was $7,500. It was like 6 months or something like that. And so I don't know if he actually gave him that cash or not. Because I think later on in the movie, didn't they say it's like, he's never paid me anything. So I don't know. I mean, it would kind of be, here's the thing. And like another thing too, is that this is kind of another example of Drake not really listening to his wife. Because his wife, when she first met him, she didn't like him at all, and she's like, he's super sketch. And the thing about it, too, was that Michael Keaton, when he first approached Drake, like, to rent the apartment, he's like, oh, I talked to your wife, Patty, a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to come see the apartment. And then, like, Drake asked her later, said, oh, he said he came and talked to you, and she's like, that's bullshit, he didn't come and talk to me, what are you talking? And, like, at that point, you'd think they'd be like, red flag, but no. I guess because he just waved around all that, like, oh, he drives a Porsche and he's got a nice suit on and he has $2,900 in cash in his wallet, and that just kind of blinded him to everything, because he was just kind of like, I mean, he did kind of try and push the credit check, but then he was just kind of like, nah, I guess it'll be okay. It was not okay. Like, you know, it destroyed their entire lives pretty much. But yeah, I was going to say, too, because Phantom said at least the cat didn't get hurt. I was thinking that, too, because, look, I got burned after Single White Female, because I had forgotten. I knew something bad was going to happen to the puppy in Single White Female, but I had forgotten how fucking traumatic that scene was, like, seeing the puppy that, like, fell out the window or whatever, and I was just like, oh, my God.
She pushed it, though, didn't she?
That was the implication. They didn't show her doing that, but that was what they did, that she threw him over the balcony or whatever. And I had forgotten that they kind of, like, showed the dead puppy and everything. I was just like, oh, my God. And I was, like, flipping out about it. And so, like, when we were watching this movie and this white cat happens along and they're just like, oh, it's a stray cat. Like, and they kind of adopt the cat, even though they never give the cat a name or nothing. And then I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, something really bad is going to happen to this beautiful white cat. And then there's a scene, too, like, where Michael Keaton sees the roach on the TV, and he's like, ooh, I'm gonna start breeding some cockroaches, that's a good idea. And the cat is in his apartment because he's apparently catnapped her, and he's doing like a thing with a razor blade or whatever, and you're like, oh no, he's gonna kill the cat. So the whole time I was expecting like a dead cat to turn up somewhere, but thankfully the kitty survives until the end of the movie. The kitty is fine, nothing bad happens to the kitty. So I was like very, very relieved. I think they were trying to fuck with us, because they knew that I had watched Single White Female. Like, you know, it's like a time travel thing. They knew that I had watched Single White Female and was traumatized by the puppy death. And so they were, like, coming out with the fucking cat and being like, oh, you think something bad's going to happen to the cat? It doesn't happen to the cat, though. The cat's fine. But there's even that weird thing where he has that dream that has, like, the cat in it, like, running around. I don't know. But so, okay, so here's the thing. Another thing that I didn't love about Drake's character, other than him being a dim bulb who just kind of fell into every single trap that Michael Keaton set for him, because he couldn't keep his temper under control, which you can't really blame him because the dude was fucking up his life. I get that. But I kind of feel like the transition from Drake being like normal boyfriend dude to like raging psychopath who's just like punching everyone out and smashing things and stuff like that, I think it was a little too abrupt, I'm gonna say. Like I said, I get it's weird because when I first saw this movie, I thought more shit happened in it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's bad enough. Like, the shit that happens in it is bad enough. But, like, I had thought, and I think CB brought it up earlier, that it's like, isn't Michael Keaton's character a serial killer? And see, that's kind of what I thought, too. I thought he was a serial killer or a rapist or something. He's not that. He's not, though. He's a con man.
He's a really good con man.
And, I mean, he gets violent if he needs to because he does, like, threaten to kill. He's going to kill Melanie Griffith at the end, like, with a nail gun. I don't know if he would really kill her, but he was, like, beating the crap out of her, and he was, like, doing the thing, like he was going to kill her with a nail gun.
Well, there had to be, like, an epic end to the movie. But for that character to stay in character, I would think that it was all a ploy.
Yeah, it might have been.
I don't think he was a killer. I think he wanted people to think that, and I think he wanted her to think that in the end. Maybe he would have used that to his advantage somehow. Got her to yield.
Well, see, I think the point of that scene was that he lost his cool for the first time because she fucked him over.
Maybe. So, okay, yeah.
I think that was kind of what that was all about.
Maybe.
Like, normally he maintained his shit, like, all the time, like, because he knew what he was doing and he was a pro and everything.
Yeah.
But the fact that she found out where he was, found out that he was using her husband's name, that he had stolen her husband's, or he wasn't her husband, they weren't married, her boyfriend's identity, and then found the hotel he was staying at and went in there and fucked up all his shit, like, pretty much took him, cleaned out his account, or turned off, like, all their credit cards and stuff like that so he couldn't access their money anymore, and also got him arrested because she went into his room pretending to be his wife and, like, called room service and, like, ordered, like, thousands of dollars worth of shit.
Yeah.
And so they ran another credit check. Meanwhile, she had called her boyfriend and said, hey, freeze all your credit cards, freeze our bank account, I'm gonna do some shit. You know what I mean? So then Michael Keaton got arrested, and then they found out everything about him. So I think that the fact that he had gotten fucked over, like, for the first time ever made him lose his shit.
I guess so.
And so he went back to the house and was I think he was absolutely gonna kill her.
Maybe.
Because he seemed like super, and I think that was like the best scene because he came off like a complete fucking psycho in that, like, with the fucking nail gun and everything like that. Just, I mean, Michael Keaton.
Maybe he did lose it.
Yeah, like, his face, to me, and I saw, like, another reviewer talking about this, it's like, it's so funny that most of Michael Keaton's roles, he's just, like, this affable everyman, or, like, he's in a lot of comedy roles.
He makes a better villain.
But because he makes a better villain, they said, I think it's the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like, he already has those real arched,
yeah,
like, evil, diabolical looking, like, eyebrows and stuff, and it's, like, it's funny that he didn't play... He has played villains a few times, but I kind of feel like this was probably his best villain role that I've seen. I guess Beetlejuice was a
lot of people
villain.
like him as Batman. I liked him as Batman back in those days. I see it now, and I'm like, nah. You know, he just didn't have the physicality Batman needs, you know. But, I don't know. Just depends on what...
Yeah, that's true.
If you see Batman animated and just get involved in the fucking animated comic, the animated films, Batman's fucking jacked. He's fucking huge. And he's on steroids. He's got his own blend that he makes.
Well, somebody mentioned earlier that they liked Michael Keaton and thought he was the best Batman because he's someone that you would never suspect of being Batman.
Yeah.
Which I think
But to do the shit that he's doing requires a lot of physical feat strength, you know. And he's not natural. He's he would have to be enhanced. He fought Bane, and Bane is a fucking steroid junkie. He's taken his own modified steroid called Venom. That's what he calls it. It makes you fucking huge and crazy. Like Tread.
Pause said, have you checked out other films directed by John Schlesinger? Marathon Man is my favorite of his. Yeah, I really like Marathon Man. We've reviewed Marathon Man, I think.
I don't think we did.
I'm pretty sure we did Marathon
Good movie.
Man. I'm pretty sure we did Midnight Cowboy, too.
Marathon Man. Yeah, I was thinking of fucking Running Man. Marathon Man. That was with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
I've seen it, so it's a really good movie.
I'm pretty sure we reviewed that.
Yeah. Is it safe?
Yeah.
Remember that? Is it safe?
Yeah.
He's fucking that damn Nazi dentist had him in that chair, torturing him.
And then I always remember that.
His only question was, is it safe?
Because it was in that fucking.
And he's like, is it safe? I don't know if it's safe. Yeah, it's safe. It's safe.
Yeah. That's a horrifying scene. I'm pretty sure we did Midnight Cowboy too, and I don't think it was that long
No, we
ago.
did Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah, I know we did Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm 80% sure we did Marathon Man, but maybe not.
I think we did 3 Days of the Condor.
Yeah, that's not John Schlesinger. That one.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that was from that same era. Marathon Man.
Yeah, because we did a whole thing of
similar.
like 70s conspiracy thrillers, and
yeah.
we did a whole bunch of those, like several,
a
while back.
I even think we did the one where they faked the moon landing. What was that, Capricorn 1?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that one too. Like I said, we went off on a whole 70s
O.J. Simpson
thriller.
in Capricorn 1.
That's right, I forgot about that.
A young O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, so Phantom says Beverly D'Angelo is way hotter than Melanie Griffith, in my opinion. Yeah, Melanie Griffith never struck me as hot. She's hot. She's more cute.
Melanie Griffith was hot in Cherry 2000.
Although, yeah, that's true. She was hot in that. Not so much
tough girl hot.
Not so much in this, though.
Melanie Griffith never had a real feminine face, if you asked me. She kind of a butch looking face, but it looked good.
It doesn't look butch to me.
To me, it looks.
I think in this movie, I think it's her voice that bothers me. She kind of has that high pitched kind of voice that sort of gets on my nerves a little bit. But I mean, I like her in a lot of movies and stuff, but like her voice kind of gets on my nerves. Beverly D'Angelo, she strikes me as like hot, but like trashy hot, but like not in a bad way. I don't mean a negative connotation, but you know what I mean. You know how there's kind of like supermodel hot, and then there's kind of like high end hot, and then there's sort of like trashy hot.
Yeah.
She's kind of trashy hot.
The ones that the guys prefer.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I kind of feel like that's kind of more. And I think it's so great that she was in like the vacation movies, like playing just like a mom, but she's clearly like.
And there's like white trash pretty, like Sissy Spacek.
Yeah. Like so, there's like a whole thing. Yeah. But in this, Beverly D'Angelo is really only in like 2 or 3 scenes in this, and it's funny because like the very first scene of this movie, it's very film noir, and it's Michael Keaton and Beverly D'Angelo humping, and like in this dark, like I said, very film noir, like even with the saxophone music and everything. And I didn't know that was Beverly D'Angelo at first because it's just in the shadows, and I didn't remember her being in this. So then, like, there's a scene, you know, these thugs come in and beat up Michael Keaton because you find out later that these are guys that came because of the grift that he was doing on whoever. So whoever he was doing the grift on came and beat his ass. But then, like, they show her, and she's kind of naked or naked-ish, and she's got, like, the robe on. And I was like, man, is that Beverly D'Angelo? And I'm just kind of looking at her, and then, like, I wasn't sure. But then, yeah, it is her. But she plays a total sultry sex pot kind of character in this. Which, like I said, is so funny because I'm so used to seeing her as Mrs. Griswold.
Look at that comment. It's Brian, who? Brian, the fucking sound guy?
It's Brian Sound Guy. Fix my YouTube channel. I'm here with you.
Who's Brian Sound Guy?
Brian Sound Guy.
I don't know who Brian Sound Guy is.
Is it Brian Hackett?
I don't know. Yeah. Probably he's talked about.
Okay. I don't know. The all caps threw me off.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was like yelling.
Must be, okay.
Yeah, Kenny said congratulations on 15,000 subs. Thank you very much. Yeah, it'll be 16,000 soon. We're pushing toward it. We'll get 20K one of these days.
Yeah.
One of these days. But yeah. Yeah, Phantom says Melanie Griffith grew up with pet tigers. Yeah, there was like a documentary. Was there a documentary or was it kind of like a partially fictional? The fuck was the name of that movie? I've only seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing straight through. One of you guys probably know. But they made like a movie about it. Now, another thing that I will mention, and this did not even occur to me while I was watching it, is that, you know, after they get Michael Keaton like evicted, but he's still kind of hanging around or whatever, and she starts following him, and he's going after that millionaire lady that's like going to be his next target. That is Tippi Hedren from The Birds, who is also Melanie Griffith's mom in real life.
Yeah.
And I didn't even recognize her. Like, I don't even think she has any lines in this. And she's literally only in 2 scenes. She's, like, in a yacht, and then she comes to the police station to, like, bail his ass out. Like, with all her money and stuff. And, but yeah, I just, like, I didn't even realize that was her.
Tabby's in there disagreeing with me that Batman doesn't need muscles. He's got all his gadgets. Now you're full of shit. Go back and look at even the 1970s comic books. Batman and fucking Superman, those dudes were jacked by modern regular human standards. Just even the way they were drawn. And then in some of the newer animated films, there was one of them that I saw. Batman's fucking jacked, man. He's huge. Even in fucking, what is it, Gotham by Gaslight, where they were doing like the fucking rebooted
the Jack the Ripper
Victorian thing. Jack the Ripper Batman. He was fucking huge.
I liked that.
The dude's big. He bigger than Arnold. If you have to actually kind of do comparative physique, you know, like who's wider than who, and no, those guys were big. Batman didn't have guns, man. He fought people with his fists. He was armored. He could absorb rounds, but you have to fucking beat people up and then fucking jump over shit and climb things. And he's fucking doing jumps that a human really couldn't do. Not a normal human. But he was in one of the movies that I saw. He had a special blend of fucking hormones and fucking synthetic hormones. He's talking about steroids that he took, and I think it was one that he kept adjusting, and he might have gotten that from Bane. I don't know, because I think Alfred said that he made a sideways comment. I think Batman had kind of stolen that formula, but I'd only seen it once though. No, Batman fucking, and he was in his 50s. Batman was doing that shit in his 50s.
Tammy says, "Don't start with me, Tom. I'll pay Jenny to peg you." Nice. I love it. I love that you guys have my back like that. See, that's always hanging over you, like all the time.
No mortal man.
One of these days,
no mortal man could have a physique like that in his 50s without some kind of assistance. Well, and it's in the films.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like he was an animated character, or like a drawn character, and you can draw them like however you want. So, you know, but they did, yeah. But like I said, I get that, but I still liked. I don't get too hung up on the visuals of the character. Like, as long as it's kind of close, I don't really care.
Well, they say that they're on stuff.
But I'm just saying that it's like I kind of just like the character and like whoever's better at playing.
Captain America went into a thing and they did hormones to him and he came out like that. They're talking about steroids. Fucking Oswald, fucking the Green Goblin was taking some kind of he took a damn combat fucking performance drug that turned him into that. They're talking about Tren. That fucking, if you watch that movie, the way he's acting, goes, you get ripped into two, a good half and a bad half. That's fucking Tren. Makes you an evil genius. You can't control it. Yeah. Now, I think Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was the fucking cocaine.
I'm pretty sure that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
But in some of the comic books later on, Dr. Jekyll was taking a very powerful male pheromone that turned him into that.
Yeah,
that was
like,
later on.
People act like drugs are a new thing. Drugs are for like forever.
Drugs have been around forever.
Yeah,
drugs and pheromones, and they knew about testosterone even in the 1800s.
But yeah, so anyway, getting back to this movie. So, like I said, I liked this movie, but not as much as I did the first time I saw it. I was surprised, like I said, how... One, you said you were surprised at how fast-paced it was. Like, shit happened, like, pretty...
Yeah.
Like,
I remember it being kind of like a slow movie, but it's not.
No, it's not at all.
And
it's not short. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. But it's just kind of like, you know, they buy the house, like, pretty much immediately. And the renovations are done, like, in 5 seconds. And then they're already, like, renting stuff out. They have a little montage of, like... A very brief montage of, like, people coming in that are obviously not suitable. And then... You know, they have the Japanese couple and they come in and they're delightful, and so they let them move in. And then, you know, there's this subplot, and I kind of felt like this was going to factor more into it, because there's a subplot where a black guy comes and he wants to rent it. He's like, yeah, my wife just left me and I need an apartment and blah, blah, blah. And so he takes the loan application and he's like, okay, well, I'll fill this out and I'll bring it back. And it so happens that when he brings it back, like, he just slips it under the door and it gets... like thrown out or something like that, because when the Japanese couple are moving in, like, all the movers and stuff are like stepping on it, and like it just gets thrown out because it looks like garbage. And so, like, later on, it turns out that that guy was like a detective, like at the police department, and he was the one that took the statement from Melanie Griffith when she came there, like talking about what this dude was doing in their house, and he's just kind of like, don't you wish you would have run into the black guy? Because I think he thought it was like racist and stuff. But she's like, no, dude, it's like your shit just got lost. We didn't get it. But I thought that was going to factor more into the story, but it didn't. But, because it was basically like, there was a little bit of a payback, but that was about it. But, yeah, so, like I said, not as much happened in it. Like, nobody got killed. Which, you know, I'm not saying people have to get killed, but I'm just saying, I don't know. Like I said, this is kind of like that Roommates from Hell show where some motherfucker like moves, you meet them on Craigslist or whatever, and then don't get your roommates off Craigslist, if anybody even does that anymore, which I don't think they do. But it's like, that happened a lot on that show though. And it's like they'll move into your house and they'll seem like super nice at first, and they'll give you first month's rent, and then they'll lock themselves in the room and never come out and trash the place, and you know, and all kind of other kind of crap. So, and sometimes that does end in murder. That show does sometimes. But this is kind of like that show, but like writ large, and somebody that knows the law in and out, like tenant law. And so I get that. I don't know. I kind of feel like it got like slightly less believable toward the end, but it didn't get super super outlandish, which maybe was to its advantage though. You know what I mean? Like it didn't go too out there, but. I don't know. I'm just glad the cat didn't get killed. That's all.
I love the damn fights I can start inside the comment section. They're fighting over who would win, the Goblin or Green Goblin, Hobgoblin or the Green Goblin. They're asking Alexa who would win between the two. People are saying, well, Goblin was part cockroach, you know, for the rays and shit.
Oh,
in the Tobey Maguire movie, Oswald, who was the guy who turned into Green Goblin, or is it Osborn? I forgot his name. I think it might have been Osborn. He had that military contract to make the glider and the fucking armored suit, and he had a high performance combat drugs. And they said it was unstable, it didn't work, but he took the shit anyway to save the company, and he killed off the board of directors and took over. And but no, they're talking about fucking, and then just the symptoms that he had in the movie. That Tren is what they're talking about. Tren would be a fantastic combat drug, if you were on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any other.
I've been on it for 6 months, man. Fucking that shit will make you a fucking demon.
We still talk about it.
Yeah, it still disturbs her. And the symptoms that they're showing in that movie are exactly what Tren's like. Exactly. Where you're at war with yourself, you're real fucking confident, and then really super insecure. You want to fight everybody, you love it. Fighting becomes sexual. You're in the fight and you want it to become like sex. It's weird. Evil. You become very evil.
Yeah. And crazy. You
say
all kind of crazy shit like you think you're king of the world.
Yeah, and you just talk about, I think I'm going to cut that guy's head off. And you mean it.
Yeah, you just say like...
It just comes right out of your mouth.
That didn't even do anything. It was just some dude like walking by my
head. Yeah, I'm going to cut his head off.
And I'm just like, can we not?
Luckily, I didn't.
Can we not do that?
I got into a lot of fights in it, and I almost jumped out of the car to beat up a dude in traffic one time.
You almost beat up a dude in front of Starbucks one time.
Yeah.
Although I wasn't there for that, and I didn't hear about that until
later.
Until a lot later.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right.
He says he was on the phone. He goes, that bike's too loud. He said, what, you want to fucking fight me? And fucking the manager had to come out and break it up.
No.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, you fat fuck, shit like that. You know. Yeah, you better walk away with that fine ass of yours. You're gonna get raped. Shit like you're fucking evil on that shit.
And they all knew him at that Starbucks. Yeah. And they're like, Tom.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that. Until later.
Yeah.
Like, because I was sitting there telling him, like, you didn't kill anybody on that shit.
No, I didn't
know about stuff.
I didn't. I'm lucky I didn't.
Yeah, you are lucky. But he's like, oh, but this one time, because I think we were at that same Starbucks.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, one time I was at this Starbucks. And I was just like, dude,
it doesn't do that to everybody, but it does it to most guys. Most dudes have a Trend story if they've ever done it. Guys, Gym Bros will say, oh, yeah, what I did on Trend. There's like videos of dudes on Trend acting crazy in front of the cops and shit. It's okay if you're on it for under 3 months. That's what they said. You say you can take about 3 months and jump off. The problem is that at the end of that 3 month period, you're not going to want to come off. You just feel so good. You go, no, I'm going to stay on this. Crazy? And then each month you're worse and worse. You become like a goblin.
Yeah, it's like you're a huge gaping asshole, but it's
Yeah.
just like you feel fucking awesome about it, and you feel like you don't have that there won't be any consequences.
Yeah, I was doing shows on it,
and you don't give a single fuck about anyone else.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Life.
You're totally fucking psychopathic.
Yeah,
and fucking and solipsistic. You only care about yourself. And I was doing shows on it. I don't think you guys knew.
Probably.
I was just trying to play along, but no, don't do that. And then it took me another 2 months to fully recover coming off of that shit.
I mean, it was a ride. That's for sure.
It's weird, but it's been around since the 1960s, so it has seeped into every edge of fucking. Those dudes writing those comic books and shit knew about all that stuff. They knew about that, and writing movies. Hollywood's all about it. Hollywood takes this shit. That's why how those guys look that way. They take steroids. They take clenbuterol. That dude in the mechanic, what's his name? The machinist. Christian Bale to get that skinny.
God, we need to fucking do that movie. That movie was so fucking good.
Yeah,
I don't think we reviewed that yet.
That takes discipline to get that skinny, but he didn't do that without help. He was on a lot of clenbuterol to do that, which you'll lose a lot of weight on that.
Plus, I think he just chewed gum.
And just chewed gum. Yeah, you starve yourself and go on clen. It'll just trim you down to nothing.
Speaking of, this is a fun fact. Getting back to the movie we were talking about, and also speaking of man rape. Is that in the original version of the script for this movie, the character that Michael Keaton plays, who's actually his fake name is Carter Hayes, that's what they know him as, was actually bisexual and was a lot more like sexually aggressive toward both members of the couple.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I kind of want to see that version of the movie now. Because, like I said, like, he did bad enough shit in the movie, but, I don't know, I thought there should have been, like, more shit in it. Because I think, like, for the first half of the movie, you don't even see him much, because he stays in his room, and you don't know what he's doing in there. You know what I mean? Because he changed all the locks, and there's all this banging and roaches and shit like that, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing in there? And, like, you hardly see him. Like, you just see him, there's one great scene where Melanie Griffith goes down into the basement and, like, she hears something, and then she sees him, and he's sitting in his car just, like, looking at her, like, smoking a cigarette, and it's super creepy. But you don't see him much until, like, a little bit later on. But so, if they had added that added sexual predator element, I think that might have made it, like, slightly more interesting. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
What was that? I was listening. I was reading the story.
I said if they'd added the sexual predator element, where he was just kind of like a pansexual, or
yeah,
like
it would have been better. But
like, I think that there would have been like even more of like a threat. Like like he was all like enough of a threat.
Yeah, but in 1990, that probably I don't know if the audiences would have been ready for that. They would say, "Wait a minute, hold on, he's a queer too. That doesn't make sense." You know what I mean? Because they didn't realize that homosexual dudes could be a threat.
Well,
they didn't have that. It wasn't in the zeitgeist then. You had to go to Mad Max for that.
No, I mean, look, Silence of the Lambs came out in 1991, and Buffalo Bill was, he pretended to be trans.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I don't think it would have been that out there, but I mean, evidently the producers or whoever like said, yeah, we're not going to put that in there.
May have been that Keaton didn't want to go that
or maybe
way.
Or maybe Michael Keaton didn't want to do it.
No, I can't do that. Yeah.
But that was like in the original version of the script was there was going to be, and like I said, that might have been an interesting angle. You wouldn't have to it wouldn't have to be super graphic or super over the top or anything like that. I just think it would have added like another interesting element to it. Much like when we were talking about Single White Female, how there was a kind of low key lesbian stalker angle. Like it wasn't super overt, but there was like some sexual tension between the women, and I think that made it like more interesting, you know what I mean? Because that's like another dimension to it. So I think if they had added that other dimension, other than him just being a con man, not saying that his character wasn't evil, because he was, and like you said, he didn't even need the money. He was just doing it to be a shithead because he enjoyed it, I guess. I mean, that was the implication, I suppose, because he didn't need it. He didn't need to be doing it for the money. But yeah, Ben said Buffalo Bill was trying to get sex change surgery, according to Lecter. They said he couldn't get it because they had done mental health assessments and rejected him. I think it doesn't even say in the movie. It's like he's not a real transsexual. He just tries to be because he doesn't know what his identity is, and he thinks that makes him a transsexual.
Yeah.
So that's what he said. But yeah, so it wasn't completely out of the zeitgeist to do something like that, like in a movie, because Silence of the Lambs. I mean, the novel came out. When did the novel come out? Late 80s? Early? I don't even remember when the novel came out. But the movie came out only a year after this. So I don't know. So I think they could have done something with that. But like you said, maybe Michael Keaton didn't want to go in that direction.
That shit goes way back. That was back when fucking who was the dude that did all the Death Wish fucking movies? Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson was in a movie where he played an assassin. Him and Jan Michael Vincent. Wasn't that guy's name?
That's Vincent? Right. Yeah, we reviewed that a while back.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be gay. Both of those dudes, gay assassins.
That's what it was in the book, right?
In the
book or in the earlier iteration.
And it's still kind of in the movie, but you got to read in between the lines.
It's very low key implied. Yeah. But if you know what you're looking for,
you go, oh yeah, okay, yeah. And it was just two gay dudes that were basically serial killers. It was kind of a fucking.
They had to keep everything on the DL back then.
Right. They were serial killers for hire, assassins. They were the mafia was contracted.
Yeah, the Mechanic. That's
the Mechanic. Yeah, fucking great flick. And
that was a really good movie.
Yeah, but the thing is that that was in the original story, but Bronson didn't want to do it. He said, I don't know if I want to be, if I don't want my name associated with gay characters. So they kind of went with a way of kind of like downplaying it.
Right.
They just did it through eye contact. Fucking Jan Michael Vincent comes in and fucking
Although it's funny because when
Charles Bronson sees him and goes,
like when we watched the movie.
When you watch the movie, it's obvious.
Yeah, which is funny, and we didn't know that was like what the original, like until later when we researched it, because but the whole time we were like, holy crap, are they gonna fuck?
Yeah, it was unspoken.
So it was obvious to us,
right?
But I guess maybe back then it wouldn't have been.
Well, Bronson had a lot of knucklehead fans. You know what I mean? So he didn't want to piss them off.
Yeah, because they'd be like,
what the hell kind of shit is this? Yeah, this gay. Yeah, what the hell is this? So they'd watched it and they wouldn't notice that shit. They would just watch the movie. But a person who fucking understood what the hell was going on was like, okay, yeah, that's what's going on here. These dudes are fucking two gay murderers, serial killers, really. It was kind of like Carl. What was his name? Dean Coral.
Yeah, the Candyman.
The Candyman. Yeah, the dude was killing dudes and then would pick up dudes and try to turn them into killers and shit. It's like that. But he was a pro. He's working for the mafia. Mafia, I don't think didn't give a shit what he was doing, just as long as he was killing people.
Yeah, they're like, hey, as long as you.
Yeah, and they had all this stylish living, and they were living high. They were living high, 1970s style. And those fucking fantastic 70s style houses, all panoramic view and shag carpet and shit and fireplace. And they're in California. They got a fireplace indoor. What the fuck do you need a fireplace for in California?
I mean, depends on
you're
what
supposed to fuck in front of the fireplace. That's all you do.
Well, that's why.
Jan Michael Vincent fucking polishing guns
on the
fireplace
rug.
Yeah, on a bearskin rug,
like you do.
Yeah,
like you did in the 70s.
That's like you're supposed to do.
The shag rug with the bearskin rug on top of it.
Yeah,
lava lamps on it. So fucking fondue pot.
Yeah.
Fucking macrame owl hanging on the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s. Okay, I lived in a house with all of those things.
Yeah.
We even had macrame owls.
Might have to wrestle that British dude in front of the fireplace.
Oliver Reed.
Me and Oliver Reed naked wrestling in front of the fucking, just like in that movie.
Oh.
Ain't that something? All my gay fans in there going, yeah, I'd like to see that.
I would also like to see
doing
that.
The naked wrestling in front of the fireplace scene like Oliver Reed did. That motherfucker was crazy, man.
You know,
He's fucking funny.
I want to
Oliver Reed would go to California and get drunk and take off all his and arm wrestle fucking Marines in the bar, and then take his clothes off and just walk down the street and then get arrested.
He sounds like a blast.
And he'd talk his way out of it.
Like I said, I want to.
He was a big drinker, man.
Hang out with that dude. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was of another generation, but I would have liked to have fucking drank with fucking Reed. Reed would have been cool, yeah.
You would never know what was gonna happen that night.
That motherfucker was wild, man.
Ben says in Diamonds Are Forever they have those two gay hitmen. Mr. Peters and Mr. Wynn. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
That's right. And you kind of had to read in between the lines.
Diamonds Are Forever.
We saw it. Yeah, it was good.
I mean, we watched it.
Yeah, terrible movie. Terrible James Bond movie.
I don't like it actually.
Nah, but it had some cool ideas in it. You know, a lot of James Bond movies kind of suck. The old ones.
They're hit or miss.
Yeah, hit or miss.
They're hit or miss.
They were okay in the day. They just didn't really age well. Kind of cheap. By today's standard, cheap looking. Not well written.
When we were talking about how, like, we were talking about Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that. Pause that Deliverance had that sort of predation.
Yeah.
But it was not much in popular films until Pulp Fiction. Yeah, that's right. And that was 94.
Yeah.
Like with the whole... And I mean that's Tarantino. I mean, he gets kind of out there.
Well, he got
so, like,
that
rednecks... You know, ass raping a big black man. That was kind of like
he probably got that.
He got that from Deliverance. I mean,
God,
Deliverance used to scare the fucking shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah,
holy crap!
And
that whole fucking scene is just terrifying.
And they had my boy fucking Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
That was the original fucking white exploitation action film star, man, from the South, man. Fucking Burt Reynolds, and he has some good movies. He's got some really good movies.
Yeah,
he's got some that are just okay, you know.
We went off on a whole Burt.
I went off on a whole Burt Reynolds thing. I recommend Gator. I recommend White Lightning and Gator, Sharky's Machine.
Yeah, we did that.
And what's another one? Malone. Interesting. Malone was pretty interesting.
I think we did that one too.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. He's great at it. With
Man, I used to see it on HBO every day.
The beautiful Dolly Parton, Southern Belle. Can't get any better than Dolly. She's still around. She still looks great. She's about 100.
Dolly Parton is
big old boobs.
Delightful human being.
Yeah,
she is just an all-around delightful.
Yeah, good woman. Being. Yeah.
How can you not love Dolly Parton? She's just like one of those people that is just kind of like you can't like not. Yeah. She's like Mr. Rogers. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't like not love her.
And she's just a real trashy looking, pretty old lady. Big boobs. Yeah.
I mean, that would be so cool. It's just kind of like
there's so much work on her, man.
There's really not that many people in the world that can that you can safely say are like universally adored. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure
everybody likes her.
I'm pretty sure she's one of them. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about her.
She's a good person.
Yeah, she seems awesome.
Yeah.
She's another one I'd like to have some drinks with.
Yeah.
She'd be super fun.
She was a natural beauty too, man. She was fucking gorgeous. See her young. And
she fucking sang too.
Well, she can sing, yeah. And she can act.
That also.
She can act, yeah.
That also.
And she naturally did have big boobs and just got bigger and bigger and bigger ones as she went.
Because why not?
Why not? I mean, why have a bra on the outside when you can have a bra on the inside?
You can have two bras.
Yeah.
Layered bras.
You have an outside on a bra, you have a bra on the inside. Jenny has a bra on the inside and on the outside.
That's right, I have two bras.
Yep.
Yeah, Tammy says Oliver Reed pegging Tom. LOL. Yeah, see, that's I want to.
Tammy, you keep rolling that in your mind. That's $1 million film right there. I could make so much money if that actually happened. I had to do a whole time machine and everything. I'd put that shit up on fucking. Mini-vids.
There you go. You can get all kind of money for that. Come on.
We wrestling and shit. I'd have Zach there as a referee.
He can referee.
Yeah, Zach he's oiling us up and shit.
But Zach's like, don't get me involved. I don't want to be Zach involved. I don't want to be
I gotta have my gays involved. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just to make sure to keep it gay, fair and square.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it gay.
Because you got two straight dudes.
That's
I guess.
What I mean.
You know,
no straight shenanigans.
Yeah, you got two straight dudes. You're gonna need a gay guy to fucking be in there to keep it gay.
Keep it gay.
Yeah. There's certain rules.
Tammy says I get 10% for the idea. We'll write out a contract.
Fuck, man. I don't know how I get into this fucking shit, man.
It's your big mouth that does it.
If you hang out with women, man, they fucking talk you into fucking joking about crazy shit constantly.
And then eventually we talk you into.
And then they try to get you to do it.
That's kind of how we do it, man.
Fucking women, man.
That's our manipulation.
You dudes fucking jerking it to fucking porn and shit. You gotta understand, these women are jerking it to gay porn. They're dudes fucking each other and women pegging dudes and shit. That's what they're into. But don't give in to that shit. Protect your virginity. Protect your virginity.
And also women stepping on dudes' nuts.
And dudes stepping on dudes' nuts, man. Don't give in to that shit. Just let it remain a fantasy with
Although I'm not sure if it's like hot as much as it's like hilarious.
Yeah, she loves pain and humiliation.
It just makes
She'd make a really good dominatrix.
It makes me laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, step on those nuts. Squish them.
Okay, look, man, the review's over. We drank what we had to drink.
And our drinks are empty.
Drinks are
so
empty.
I guess we're gonna wrap it up. All right.
This movie's worth watching, especially if you've never seen it before.
Yeah, if you like 90s thrillers, like it's worth watching just for Michael Keaton alone.
Yeah, it's got good acting.
And for like the shot competitions and stuff like that.
Good acting.
It's a nice looking
it's a
movie.
stylish movie.
Yeah. Like I said, there's better ones from this time period, but
this is among the good ones.
I mean, I remembered it for a reason.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the cockroaches, probably. Which wasn't quite as traumatic. I remembered it being like a whole room full of cockroaches. Not quite that bad.
Yeah.
But it's still bad, like I said. And I was like, oh my God, it's like my worst nightmare. Well, when I grew up in Daytona Beach, and like one time we had to, when I was still a kid, we had this, I don't know what it was. It was some kind of fucking filter shit or whatever, like on the wall. And like somebody had to come in and take something out to fix something, and it was just like all fucking cockroaches like ran out. It's like, oh my God, it was like fucking worst. I'm like, oh, I will never get clean after seeing
CB
that.
said it was sad to see Oliver Reed drunk on the talk shows. No, I thought it was awesome to see him drunk on the talk shows because
I mean, he was having a good time,
funny,
probably.
Yeah. I saw him
like,
show
whatever,
up
I don't
drunk
give
as
a
fuck on Merv Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murph didn't care, probably.
Yeah. Everybody was drunk on television in the United States, back in the USA back in the 70s anyway. On the game shows, a lot of them were drunk. Hollywood fucking Squares and shit.
Sorry, every time somebody talks about Merv Griffin, I always think about that fucking movie. You're the elevator killer.
Yeah.
Merv Griffin.
Okay, man, I gotta go.
That was A Man with Two Brains, by the way, with Steve Martin, which is excellent if you haven't seen it. So we're gonna wrap it up for this evening. Please remember to drop by Wednesday night. We're doing a show about yet another mass shooter shithead. That was what won in the poll, and we mentioned him on the show that we did about the El Paso shooting. We're gonna talk about good old Anders Breivik, the dude from Norway that shot up all those little kids. So, yay. That's going to be super fun. That's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday, so hopefully you guys can join us for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this movie review. This movie's on Tubi, by the way, if you want to watch it for free. Unlawful Entry is on there also. That was our other pick. So we might do that one next week. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so again, thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks for the conversation. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday night. Good night.